I kissed the clouds so hard in college one time, I convinced myself Snoop Dogg was rapping to a beat skip. If you don't know what I mean by kissing the cloud, ask your neighbor. So this happened when I was in college. I went to a HBCU in Ohio, and there weren't too many HBCUs in Ohio, so if you know which one I'm talking about, please keep it to yourself. Our school was in the middle of a cornfield, so there wasn't too much else to do besides kissing clouds and drinking liquid courage. I made a few friends who also enjoyed kissing clouds, so one day the four of us decided to hotbox in the back parking lot of the honors dorms. Now, doesn't that just make the most sense in the world? Non-honors kids kissing clouds in the parking lot of the honors dorms. We going places, y'all, I'm telling you. The reason we decided to hotbox was to listen to the early release of Snoop Dogg's new album, The Blue Carpet Treatment. Now, allow me to translate for those who don't get the lingo. It was the bootleg copy, okay? So we load up in the car. The clouds are in rotation, and there's a healthy amount of cumulonimbus in the car. So the mood is set. Now, the big homie, he was an upperclassman from Jersey, and you're gonna wanna keep that in mind because it's gonna play a role later on in the story. He put on Snoop Dogg CD. The CD hadn't had the best treatment in the world. Now, this isn't the worst I've ever seen, but he could have treated this priceless commodity a little bit better. But regardless, the CD played seemingly fine for about 5 tracks. At about track 6, Big Homie decides clouds need to be back in rotation. But this time, he decides to pull out what he pridefully called Northern Lights. I'm from Cali, Inglewood to be specific, and I was pretty arrogant about that fact. So I looked at him like, bruh, if you don't stop playing and light that little baby pack up. His response, looking back on it now, that was probably one of the more diabolical faces I've ever seen. Okay, so we have Northern Lights in rotation. And again, we have cumulonimbus clouds filling every crevice of this vehicle, so much so that I can't see my hand in front of me. Track 10 started to play. And remember back when I said the CD wasn't in the best shape? This is where it became evident. The track skipped all the way through, but in my cloud kiss mind, I was convinced this was on purpose. So just to make sure, I asked Big Homie to run it back one more time. Of course, he looked at me crazy, but I feel like he was a little curious. When he ran it back, we must have all got smacked with that Northern Lights because you couldn't tell us Snoop was not flowing flawlessly over a beat that was made to skip. We must have ran that track back 10 to 12 times. We were so hyped that we all started freestyling, even though Snoop's vocals were still very present in the track. Now, I don't remember too much past that point in time, but the next day, and for the following week for that matter, I remember tracking down Big Homie from Jersey just so I can get that track again. But by the time I caught up to him, he told me he had tossed the CD out because it was beyond saving. I actually think he was trying to save me from myself because I'm sure he knew we were all tripping that night. I tried looking for the track online, but the internet back then is not what it is now. So trying to find it was nearly impossible, even more so if the track never existed. And I would say I know the track doesn't exist because who would put out a track like that? Plus, we was kissing Northern Lights the whole night. So I had to be tripping, right? Anyway, tap in with me. You know I tap back. Peace.
Everything meticulous.